In this video, I'm going to show you some simple lateral hip exercises you can do at home so that these muscles start feeling longer and stronger. So if you're ready, let's get ready to think right, move right, and feel right. The lateral hip muscles that we're talking about in this video are going to be your glute max, your glute medius, your glute minimus, the TFL, and the IT band that goes down the side here. We're going to first talk about how you can lengthen and then strengthen these muscles so that you feel good, comfortable, confident, and you have better hip mobility for whatever it is that you're doing. So first off, let's start with a stretch. You're gonna need something like a couch, a chair, a bench, something you can lean on. I've got a plyometric box. You probably have one at your local gym. You've probably got something like a kitchen counter at home, and you can just put a little padding, a towel, or something under there to help you feel more comfortable. You can get a yoga block, or you can get a foam roller here. It's optional. You're just gonna take your leg that's closer to your support. You're gonna have that straight like this. You're gonna have your other leg just in front of you like so, so you feel stable and balanced. Now the goal here is to get the hips to go down towards the floor, and that's gonna put a big stretch on those lateral hip muscles. You can play around with your pelvis position. You can push it a little more forward, you can push it a little more back. Just find the angle that seems to put a stretch into the lateral hip. There's no specific perfect angle, just find the one that works for you. The reason you need the block or the foam roller is because your foot might not be super comfortable on its side like this, pushing to the ground, especially if you are barefoot or like me, wearing barefoot shoes. So you can just grab a block. I swear that's not a fart, that's my arm, I swear. You're gonna take that block or foam roller, just stick it there so that the pressure is actually on the side of your lower leg rather than on the side of your foot, and that's probably gonna be a lot less sensitive. Find the angle that gets right into that stretch. Then you can use contractions to build strength at length, right? So we're stretching this out. You could do this just as a nice static stretch where you're breathing, relaxing, stretching it out, that's fine. I find it's really helpful to use contractions, so then you can push. Use the muscles, so it's kind of like you're pushing your leg and your foot down into the floor, but you're not really moving. You're firing those muscles, holding that contraction, and then seeing if you can drop down a little bit more. And you can just explore, keep doing this. Contract, teach those muscles to fire, relax, see if they can lengthen a little bit more, and then just adjust your body position to figure out what's going to get you the most bang for the buck. And it's going to change day by day, week to week. So just figure out what your specific body needs. And before I go on in this exercise, I just want to remind you to go to uprighthealth.com/BRB to get the Body Rebuilding Basics. It's a free program that'll help you rebuild your mind and your body at home. It's got free workouts and free wisdom for your benefit. So go get it right now. It's free. All right, let's get back to this stretch and a couple new strengthening exercises for your lateral hip. I would do this on both sides for sure, and make sure that you spend more time on the stiffer side. Start off with 30 seconds to a minute and see how that feels. If you're an experienced stretcher, of course you could go longer if you know your real limits, but if you don't have experience stretching your body very much, just don't go too hard, too fast, too long. Remember that slow is safe and fast is foolish. So start off with an easier dose. Make sure you feel the right muscles and gradually learn how to contract the right muscles without going full bore, because you will just hurt yourself and you will regret it. So take your time, go slow. Once you've done 2 or 3 sets on each side to lengthen things out, you can do some strength work so that those lateral hip muscles get a lot stronger. Simple way to do that is to lie down on your side and use an exercise mat or yoga mat if this surface is a little bit too hard for your lateral hips right now. Then you're gonna have this front leg just like so in front of your body so you feel stable. Other hand is planted, and then this top leg is going to be lifting up towards the sky. You wanna get it up as high as you can without compensating. So that means you don't want your low back to like dump forward. You don't want to be twisting around. You want to feel like whatever your starting position is with the torso and the spine is the same as you go up and when you reach that top position. We don't want you to go to try to cheat this. So keep everything stable, lift that leg up to wherever it gets, and let it go as far down as it possibly can. Hopefully you can get it to touch the floor. If you can't, you probably need to spend some more time doing those stretches that I showed you. So we're just gonna keep going up and down. And we want to be mindful of the trajectory. So as we're going up, we're not just like also pulling it forward unconsciously. We want to be careful about that. Keep it in that straight up and down. If anything, see if you can keep pushing back a little bit more without losing spinal position. That's going to help you use your glute max and the posterior fibers of your glute med more. So just up and down, feeling those muscles fire. Make sure you get to the bottom position. Try not to let the whole pelvis sink down to kind of cheat you of getting full range of motion out of the hip joint. We want the actual femur to come down, not just kind of shifting the hips to pretend we have full range of motion in this hip joint. So up and down, and we can switch sides very easily on a hardwood surface. And we're gonna go up like so. And since I just did that stretch on this side, it feels so much smoother and easier on this side to get that full range of motion. I didn't do it on the right side, and that made it feel a little stiffer. So we're going all the way up and down, controlling the position. And if we want to make this harder, we can always throw an ankle weight on, but there's a trick to this. I would suggest when you first start, number one, use a lightweight. Number two, if you can fit it on the thigh, that might actually be more helpful because that makes it not as much leverage. That makes these hips work maybe harder than you're ready for. So either use a really light weight. If you got a heavier weight and you can't make it lighter, put it on the thigh near the knee. And then as you get stronger, you can go ahead and stick it down on the actual ankle. And because now that lever is much longer, it's going to be much harder for your lateral hip muscles to handle. Okay, so we're just up and down. Let that weight pull us down to the floor. Oh yeah. And make sure you control the full range of motion. Don't just kind of whip it up and then drop it down like that. We want to go do up. Oh yeah, feel those muscles working, and slowly back down. Now, some more exercises we can do include simple angle changes like shifting the leg position. So now this leg is more in hip flexion, and then lifting that leg up. That will help you hit these lateral hip muscles a lot more. These lateral hip exercises are going to strengthen the crap out of these guys. So play around, make sure that you control your body position and that you're not just rolling the rest of your torso to try to cheat and get that leg kind of higher, but not really. All the principles are pretty much the same. You just have your leg moving relative to a still, stable pelvis. Go up as high as you can and then back down. And this should go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Make sure you do both sides and train the weaker side with extra reps or even a full extra set so that weaker side can catch up. Another great lateral hip exercise is just to do the fire hydrant, where you are pretending you are a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. Principles here are very similar. You want to keep that pelvis stable, spine stable. You want to minimize any cheats in body English, and you want to focus on the femur, the thigh bone moving relative to that stable pelvis. Go slow and controlled. This is going to help build strength in those lateral hip muscles in a shortened position. This is as short as they can get, basically. And also, while you're doing this, feel free to explore slightly different angles. So maybe the fire hydrant is right here and you're aiming your knee at the fire hydrant, or maybe the fire hydrant is back there a little bit and you're trying to aim back there to pee on it. Just make sure that you're not doing this and cheating. Make sure it's all about the leg getting to different positions. You can even try to pee back this way, though it probably won't be an effective pee. It will be effective for your lateral hip muscles. Go until you're fatigued. Just work these muscles. Make sure you're going slow and controlled, and find those angles where you just feel like, man, that's shaking and wobbling. And yes, you can use weights and resistance to make these exercises harder. So you could just put that ankle weight right around your thigh here. Boom, assuming your thigh and your ankle weight are compatible sizes. And then you can do your fire hydrants with a little extra resistance. You can also use elastic bands around your knees. You can use larger thigh weights, which do exist. You can also put the weight somewhere around your lower leg, though that can make this a little bit tricky. It's not quite the same. The loading's a little different, but it's still good because this will actually create a rotational force, which will involve more of your lateral hip muscles and some of your deep hip rotators, so that can be fun too. Just know that it's not as specifically targeted to the lateral hip muscles in terms of abduction, but it is going to help those deep hip rotators. Kind of splitting hairs, but it does get important as you get more and more detailed with your own body. So with all the strengthening exercises, 2 or 3 rounds to fatigue is a great way to start. And don't do them every single day when you first start. For the first couple weeks, you should probably stick to only 2 or 3 times in that week. And even after that, you probably don't want to be doing it every single day, and certainly not at a very high intensity. You could do nice unweighted versions of the fire hydrant just as a daily drill, and that's totally fine. It's probably really good for your body to actually be exploring these angles on a regular basis. But if you're constantly loading them with as much weight as they possibly can handle, you're probably going to cripple yourself with soreness, and I have told you not to do that. Remember that slow is safe and fast is foolish. So I just showed you 100 exercises for your lateral hips. Sorry, I just showed you 3 lateral hip exercises and some different variations that'll help you lengthen and strengthen your lateral hip muscles. So if your glute max, your glute med, your glute min, your TFL or your IT band are bugging you, be sure to give these a shot. If you're looking for a program to help you rebuild your hips at home, I invite you to go to uprighthealth.com/DIY and check out the Healthy Hips program. And while you're there, you can also get a totally free program called Body Rebuilding Basics that'll give you a bunch of free workouts that'll help you rebuild your back, your shoulders, and your hips. So go check that out too. It's free. There's literally no reason not to get it. If you want to support this channel, you can go to uprighthealth.com/donate and find all the simple, easy options, or you can just use the join and thanks buttons on YouTube. I really appreciate your support. And if you want to see more free videos that can help you with your hips, be sure to check these out right here. Like, share, and subscribe with the bell notification on. And as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't.